from a fallout shelter somewhere under Seattle, Washington, it's the show you've been waiting for. Get ready to join your hosts, John and Kenrick, as they talk comics, movies, and more. Now here's Spoiler Country!
Alright, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenrick, and that is Mr. Horsley. And today on the show, it's Andrew Sumner, part 2.
Part 2. Oh,
Boy,
man.
did you ever see the Hot Shots?
Part 2? Yes.
Part 2?
I love those movies.
They're so stupid. That's a young Samuel L. Jackson in that movie with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, the scene, is it part 2 where he's doing like the martial arts fighting and he kicks a guy in the balls and you guys drop a ball into his mouth? Is that one?
I think that's the one.
Yeah,
I think that's the one.
That movie's
stuff.
funny.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I just love stupid comedy like Airplanes.
Yeah, me too.
All those. I love those.
Top Secret with Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah. Top Secret was great. That's an underrated one, too.
I know.
Like, people don't talk about that one like they do Airplane, but it's right up there.
The cow scene where they have the boots on, the cow suit is amazing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anything from Mel Blanc. Or not Mel Blanc. That's
Mel
the
Brooks.
guy. Yeah, Mel Brooks. Mel Blanc was the guy that did all the voices for Warner
Right,
Brothers.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah. That's so funny. But, yeah. There you go.
But yeah, so Andrew Sumner.
We had an amazing time, which everyone already knows about. But our first part has had a tremendous amount of people loving and listening and downloading his interview.
Yeah, it's actually it and I'll say this happily. It's the fastest growing episode we've ever had.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny, and it's global because Andrew is a global trend-setting kind of guy.
Yeah. So it's awesome. So thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. So this one, though, we talk a lot more about his job.
Yeah, we go off topic as we always do, but we spend a lot of time talking about what Titan does, what kind of things Titan releases, like some good like insider stories of Titan. And I mean, we go off rails on like some movie trials and some other conversations, but it all comes back to his job with Titan and what Titan does. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. So there you go. So should we just listen?
Yeah, let's take a listen.
There you go.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before we go, I will say so every listening, there is one cut because we had to cut something out, and I think it's pretty smooth. But if you're a keen listener, you might catch where it's at. But if you do, just know that we cut something out. It's saved for later, but it's not in this episode.
Yeah, and if you find out what it is and you're right, tell Johnny. He'll give you a comic book.
I
first
will.
guy only.
I will give you a free comic book of one of mine for free.
There you go.
Now let's listen.
You like how I just offered that up without even talking to you?
Whatever, it works. I can't say no now. It's on recording.
You have more books than I do, so it's okay.
No. I'll just give him one of my a book I published.
There you go.
Not my collection. They can have a YGCL book.
There you go. That's even better. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers again, man.
Just write myself a note. Cheers, everyone.
So, Andrew, how long are you here for?
I'm here until I'm here through Monday, and then I'm in New York next week. I go back to London towards the end of next week.
And then you're home?
Yeah, then I'm home for a week or two, and then I've got to come back. So we've got a bunch of trade shows on the apparel side of our business we need to go to.
What's your next trade show for apparel?
Yeah, that's right.
What is that like?
Okay, very interesting actually. It's a show called Magic, which is happens in Vegas. So anybody who works in the apparel business, we're in the licensed part of the apparel business, but a lot of it is people who design their own stuff, and it takes place at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Vegas, and you get all the buyers from all the kind of retail chains that buy stuff like that. Whether that's like Kroger, Fred Meyer, whether that's Hot Topic, whether it's Spencer's, they all come and check out what's going on. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's a trade show, so it's not at all like a it's not like a customer show at all.
Right.
So, and frequently, the mission when you work in our business, if you're working at a trade show, is to talk to the retailers, and if needs be, if they're not fans, to explain the significance of the license and why it's good and why it cuts through.
Especially on what's your format of your store kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, your Hot Topics.
This is what works. Yeah, right on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's the way it works. So it's a different and more sedated, measured environment than a custom show until you go out for the evening, and then it's like bedlam, of course, like it always is. They take people out for a few drinks, and then it's just like social.
This is when the real negotiations begin.
Yeah. But the truth is, we work with a lot of some of the coolest people I know are like buyers for retail chains like Hot Topic. Work with some really amazing people with our business there,
That's cool.
And actually the thing about the buyers at Hot Topic specifically is they know their stuff.
Yeah.
They know it inside and out.
They have to. I mean, shit.
So everybody who buys for them at head office is really understands the ethos, and it's ingrained in them. They've worked in stores, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's cool. So I want to ask you some questions on your actual business side. If you
Oh yeah, please do. Yeah, for sure.
So you guys do a lot of licensing, like Doctor Who and all that kind of stuff. How do you keep? This is a weird question, I think. How do you keep your costs down on that many T-shirts and that many things? Because we have things that we're trying to do. Like you see this shirt, right?
Oh yeah.
And right now we're doing something with like T-Public, but it's a print on demand.
Yeah.
Not the
Print
best
on
business
demand is
model.
expensive. Yeah.
And then we have a mascot that he's developing, which is because our tagline for our podcast is in an oceans of podcast, we are Cthulhu.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. So we're making a little Cthulhu, and it's going to have Spoiler Country T-shirt on, and it'll be like a little baby Cthulhu. You know what I mean? So how do you get through to that point where you're able to mass produce that? Or
the thing is that is really all about. That's all about scale.
Yeah. Like we don't even know where to begin.
The efficiencies of scale. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, like, we can have a follow-up conversation outside of the podcast where I talk to you about, when it comes to the inside baseball of like running a business like ours, the stuff I'm happy to talk about, the stuff which it's best if we do it,
Right.
Yeah.
Behind the velvet curtain. Not there's a kind of like, not there's like a kind of Wizard of Oz sat there playing and organising.
No.
But sometimes these things are. But it'd be a very easy conversation to have. But the easy answer is it's just about scale.
Yeah.
So for example,
that first one costs you this much, but then as you produce, it goes.
Yeah, that's right. And so if you're selling to retail chains, you are producing thousands, not hundreds of T-shirts.
Right.
If you're selling to retail chains in the US,
Right.
So automatically, that. But there are other expenses that like guys like you don't have, so it costs X amount, and we produce all our clothing in the USA, so we don't, don't produce it abroad, but we sell large amounts of it. The major investment is in the manufacturing and in the design.
Right.
And the design's all tied up into our relationship with the relative licensor, whether that's Dark Souls or whether it's 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, whether it's Doctor Who. Whatever.
Right.
And then the other thing is we have to get it approved by the licensor. And there's a lot of upfront costs doing all of that. And then the other thing is if you're in the licensed products business, licensed publishing business, you have to pay royalties to people who own the license. Yeah. So there's a ton of money that goes out before the money comes into you. You know. So you're constantly working on a profit margin, whatever that profit margin might be. But the profit margin for any kind of licensed products is the margin to yourself as a company is way less than you'd expect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it's about how much you want to sell as much as you can because you have such a tight margin, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's about scale. So the reason that it's doable is that we're never talking about producing 10 or 20 or 100 shirts. We're always talking about way more than that.
Right.
That even with all the cost, even with the vast majority of the revenue covering costs that aren't your profit margin, it's doable. But that's like any long-range business, whatever it is, whether it's publishing, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's toys. These things don't have massive profit margin, but it's just based upon the numbers that you put out there.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but really, I mean, my philosophy, the most simple way in which I could explain it is that what we're all about is doing great stuff, not stuff that's okay or good, doing great stuff. And
high water.
And it's and our, if you've seen, say, our vinyl, we're not the Goliath in this business. We're the David. We're a relatively small company.
Right.
But the stuff we do is incredibly high quality.
It is.
And
it really
the sculpts on our stuff are amazing. What we've really
you're not 21 forever?
What's that?
You're not 21 forever?
Well, that's it. I mean, those likenesses that we do are amazing. The way
for us, man, the stuff you guys are doing looks amazing. I love all your Doctor Who books. Art and the storylines that those guys come up with are
some of the
ridiculous.
best in the world. They're amazing. And guys, can I just like take a time out? So something I was going to say about when I went through the different divisions of the company.
You want this off the record?
No, this is good. Okay. This is on the record. With our company has a couple of great strengths. We employ a lot of really world-class people.
Yeah.
And when it comes to running a business like this, whether it's comics or whether it's publishing, in the fan nerd geek space, whether it's merchandising, pretty much our company is the only game in town in the UK.
Yeah.
And a big part of our market is the USA, but creatively we're based in the UK, and that's our edge really, because we're a bunch of like women and men who've grown up loving like movies and comic books.
You got a different skew than what we're used to here.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Awesome.
But also we've got the owners of Titan and the sort of guiding lights of Titan are a couple called Vivian Chung and Nick Landau. And Vivian Chung's Singaporean, they're a married couple. Nick Landau is an English dude. They're a really interesting couple. She is like a dynamo, a super intelligent dynamo. She's like a fully qualified doctor, but she doesn't work as a doctor. She runs our business.
Damn, nice.
Awesome.
And he is like a super intelligent, super fan like ourselves, Nick Landau is one of the few people I've ever met whose deep level fanboy knowledge from the early 60s onwards is on the same level as mine. Yeah. And I don't mean that as a boast, I mean that as paying tribute to him. There's nothing he doesn't know when it comes to classic, kind of like pop culture. And very interestingly,
I love
right?
Classic pop.
He was one of Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
like
2000 AD.
And the editor of 2000 AD is Tharg, right?
Yeah.
Tharg the Alien, if you've ever read it, they have this kind of this central conceit that the guy editing the comic, the anthology comic, is Tharg, an alien who's come down to Earth to disseminate great thrill power to the masses. And one of the earliest Thargs was Nick Landau, like Titan's owner.
Yeah.
And like he was like the second or third, so one of his first jobs was like working on 2000 AD. And some of the most classic Dredd classic 2000 AD comic strips he was involved with, and he was one of the guys who came up with this stuff. And so they're really Vivian's really into, she is really the driving force behind us doing merchandise and particularly vinyl collectibles.
Yeah.
That's her thing, she's really, really into it. And Nick's kind of mantra is like quality. He's one of these guys who, he's always all over the stuff we do, whether it's books or it's magazines or whether it's toys. And he's very exacting, and we go back, I've got very high standards and we go back and forth on a lot of stuff. Because I think, I'll be like, this, I've got very high standards, it's good enough for me. And they'll be like, I have also got very high standards and I want it to be good enough for me. That's what I love about them. That's what's brilliant about working with them, is that it's their energy and the total belief in doing stuff that is great.
Yeah.
Not just stuff that's going to work.
Yeah.
So that kind of trickles down from the people who own the business, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. And so then when we get into everything else...
I love that movie, Lock, Stock.
Yeah.
So great.
Fuck, it's a great movie.
I'd rather Black Rubber Cock in.
Yeah. One of my dad's favourite movies, particularly where they beat up the traffic warden. Everybody in the UK is like, yeah, that's great. And so that comes down from them, and so the way we sort of get into everything that we do, it's not just about doing stuff that works, so that's tremendously important.
Yeah.
But we get to doing stuff that works by doing stuff that is great. We're always trying to do stuff that is great.
Well, from all the work that I've seen and the books that I've read, you guys have always been on point. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
I tell my local comic book shop, how come you guys don't have more Doctor Who stuff and more some of the stuff that Titan's doing?
I mean, the Doctor Who program is great, and the boys the women and men in the comics division are doing some great work at the moment on the run up to the 13th Doctor. So they're doing 3 one-shots, one for the 10th, one for the 11th, and one for the 12th, and they come out this month and next month, which are the road to the 13th Doctor.
Right.
So the 10th is out now, the 11th comes out next month, and I believe the 12th comes out in September.
Hey, speaking of 2000 AD, because you brought it up, what did you think of the Carl Urban?
I love
Dredd?
it. I absolutely
so
love it.
good.
Was it not
fucking
like
awesome?
Like
he's brilliant.
Stallone was like,
oh yeah,
like
that's just not
Carl
just
Urban
Dredd,
was perfect. I was like,
Carl Urban does it exactly right. That's a fucking great film.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Another one.
By the way, the dudes at 2000 AD, really lovely people. You should do some stuff with them sometime.
Oh, hell yeah. We'd love to.
They're marketing PR guys, a guy called Michael Mulcher.
Man, if you could turn
he's
us on
fucking
to him.
awesome. He's fucking awesome. I said he's fucking awful. He's the opposite of fucking awful. He's brilliant. Yeah, Mulcher be calling me up on Monday. Why he sounds fucking awful to those dudes? What? He's fucking awesome.
Mark, we're coming for you.
Yeah. So Mulcher, I'll get him. Mike Mulcher, I'll get him. I'll introduce you to him.
Awesome.
Super nice guy. Great
Awesome.
guy.
Yeah.
And
I love 2000 AD. I was reading that
I
back
know
in the 80s.
it is the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. So yeah, I think the Urban movie is fantastic.
Oh,
it's really good, really
good.
And I love the fact that at no point do you ever see his face. But I love Carl Urban as an actor. He's very
that's
versatile.
Dredd.
Yeah.
And
Because it's the same dude, right? He's in Ragnarok. Right?
Yep. That's so great in Ragnarok.
So good in Ragnarok.
Oh my God!
And then
this is Des and Troy when they're together destroy.
So he does,
from Texas.
he does a great English accent in Ragnarok.
He's great in Star Trek.
He's fucking amazing. I think the new cast in the JJ movies are amazing. I think the best of them all is Pine, because what Pine does is recall Shatner without doing an impersonation, which seems to me to be impossible. But the minute I saw Star Trek for the first time, and I'd seen Pine and a bunch of other things, the minute I saw him, that lad is a star.
Yeah.
He is going to be a big name.
He's fantastic.
Such an amazing
But Urban as McCoy,
right.
perfect casting.
Urban as McCoy is literally doing DeForest Kelly.
Yeah,
It's like spot on.
Yeah, and he
God
does
damn
a
it, Jim.
great job.
I'm a doctor, not
Simon
a miracle
Pegg.
worker. It's all that stuff.
Even Simon Pegg as Scotty.
Even Pegg's good in
Amazing.
that. Yeah. Not that he isn't, but he's like I do really love Urban, and what he did as Dredd was good. The thing I'm most excited about, is back in my Time Warner Publishing days. What I did was I worked with Bob Wayne and Scott Dumbier, who's now the senior editor at IDW. Incredibly talented guy, two incredibly talented guys, and Scott Dumbier is the guy who looks after all of the artist editions at IDW. But when I worked with,
so cool.
it's phenomenal work. Best in class work.
Oh yeah.
And he edited everything that Darwin
Huge
Cook
IDW
did.
fans.
Me too. I love those guys. Scott, great guy. Dirk, great guy. Really great people. And the work that. But when I knew Scott back in the day, we all worked for the same company. Me, Bob Wayne, Scott. And,
Over at Time Warner.
And so what's that?
Over at Time Warner.
Yeah, over at Time Warner.
No big deal. Just Time Warner.
I was in the UK division. They were in the American division. But one of the things that we did, and this is in about 2004, is that my division of Time Warner had published all the famous boys anthology comics from the UK in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
So umbrella titles like Valiant and Lion that would have lots of like really weird, crazy, dark strips in them. And it's the mentality of these strips that really is the great influence on Vertigo and all the British Vertigo writers. So guys like Moore and Gaiman and Morrison, they all read this crazy shit when they were growing up.
Yeah.
We had the rights to all of it. And we're all different divisions of like Time Warner. So we came together and the three of us did a kind of what would have now been described as a kind of new comics universe. And it was the Albion universe, which resurrected all these weird 1950s and 1960s British comic strips. It's plotted by Alan Moore, and it was written by Leah Moore and her husband, John Reppion, who do a lot of work for Dynamite these days. And two awesome people. And we brought back all this universe of characters and, described what we're going to do with them and put them all together in one place. And Albion was a great book with a great plot that
So awesome.
had a lot of scheduling issues. So it wasn't as, it didn't have the impact that we wanted it to. And the second book of the series is called Thunderbolt Jackson. And it's an alternate version of the Thor.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, it's such a great, but
Thunderbolt Jackson. Yeah, perfect.
And it's an alternate version of the Thor myth, and it's written by Dave Gibbons, and the artwork is by John Higgins. You should check it out. It's great. Yeah.
Thunderbolt Jackson.
Fucking
Done
Dave
and
Gibbons.
done.
And then the third book is called Battle of Britain. Not Battle of Britain, but Battler, like I'm a battler, I'm going to smack you in your
Battler,
face. Yeah, Britain. And that's based on like a famous 1950s World War II comic book character. And that was written by Garth Ennis.
JXON.
JXON, yeah, correct. And that was written by Garth Ennis. They're all collected. You get all three books collected. And ultimately, that was
Written
all.
by Garth Ennis, really?
Written by Garth Ennis, and it's
Love
fucking
Garth Ennis.
awesome.
That must be
It's
like
great.
when he was like young.
This is only like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Oh.
No, 14 years ago, maybe. But it was.
Oh, so that's like right at the time when he was doing his Punisher run.
Oh, yeah.
And his Punisher run is ridiculous.
Oh, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Again, I could do a whole hour on that Punisher run. Yeah, I could do a whole hour on a
We're
lot of the
gonna
things
have you
we're
back on. We'll
talking
do an
about.
hour
Yeah,
on Punisher run.
So you know, I'm not a good mate of Garth's. I've met a lot of good mates of his over the years. You know, like I said, you know, a lot of my mates in the business. But I did go out with him a few times, have a few drinks, which frankly was a punishing, no pun intended, experience. You know.
Yeah.
And but this Battle of Britain, if you like his World War II comics, you got to check it out. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm mentioning all that is because I'm a huge Garth Ennis fan. I mean, who is, you know, huge Preacher fan.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of The Boys. I love The Boys. And, you know, I don't know if you guys heard this. I assume you have that Billy Butcher is being played by Carl Urban in The Boys TV show.
Is it really?
So AMC, in the same way that they made Preacher, are making The Boys.
Is Simon Pegg going to be in it? Because
it'd be so awesome. I think he's probably he's too old now to play Wee Huey.
Yeah.
And probably too big. He's in the Mission Impossible films. Yeah,
Right.
fair enough. But he's, Urban's cast as Billy Butcher.
have you read The Boys?
I have not.
And-
No.
You
it's
should read The
fucking
Boys.
Awesome,
I will
mate.
check it
You
out.
will like
Mate, it's awesome. You've got to
I
read it.
guarantee you will like it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And me and Sumner Jr., the minute that was, and my old mate Paddy Horton, who have you ever seen Empire magazine? The movie
yeah.
magazine?
Oh, yeah.
So my one of my really close English friends, Paddy Horton, we worked together years ago. We've known each other for years. He's the managing director of Empire. And the day they made that Urban announcement, me and Paddy and like Sumner Jr., Joe, we were just all like, "Whoa!" Mic drop. It's like when they cast Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. It's like,
yes.
that's the casting.
It's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Right there.
Cumberbatch is
I mean,
Yeah,
he was
so
so
great.
perfect.
I
I flipped
loved
out
it.
when they gave it. It's like, I've been saying for ages they should get Cumberbatch to play Doctor Strange. Then.
Oh, yeah.
He was so great in that role.
Yeah,
man.
I love him.
So
Yeah.
great.
Dude, that's one of my favorite shows. Is his Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock is good.
Oh,
It's a great show.
Weren't they working on a Dredd TV show for a while?
They still are. They still are.
Didn't Carl Urban say he'd be
Oh, yeah, he'd
interested
be
in that?
prepared to play. I mean, that is still in development. And
that would be amazing.
Because fuck yeah, it'd be
Oh
awesome.
yeah. It's the fucking, hey shit! Have you heard this? Have I got this right? So you know, man. Again, this is Russ the Door syndrome again. Movie director who is David Bowie's son, right? Duncan Jones, right?
There you go.
Apparently, Duncan Jones' next film.
Duncan Jones is David Bowie's son?
Oh yeah, he
didn't know that.
1000% is. Yeah.
Wow.
Moon and all that shit is David Bowie's son.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I've learned so much on this conversation.
Yeah, he was originally called.
Yeah.
He was originally called
I love-
Zowie Bowie
I
when he was born.
absolutely
On his
love
birth
Bowie.
certificate, he's Zowie Bowie.
Right.
Yeah.
I changed my name too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean Duncan Jones is a smooth
Well, if
mover.
you want to be taken seriously,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and people get you on your merits, and David Bowie is your dad, you have to change your name.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to.
But his apparently his next project is going to be Rogue Trooper from
Rogue Trooper from
2000 AD.
I love Rogue Trooper, man.
Yeah, Dave Gibbons' Rogue Trooper.
I used to read those comic books because growing up, those were the only comics I could read that were like gritty and dark. Because superhero comics in the 90s were all, flashy.
Yeah.
So I'd read, 2000 AD stuff because I'd get it from my dad. And Rogue Trooper I read Rogue Trooper and I read Dredd. And
My buddy
Oh, yeah.
Mark Shoemaker got me into 2080
Yeah.
and Dredd. When Dredd had his own book there for a while in the 80s.
Right.
I think it was just called Dredd.
called Dredd, yeah. There was the Judge Anderson series for a while in the 90s.
That's great stuff too.
Yeah. And then we got into Savage Dragon.
Right?
Savage Dragon's great.
Eric Larson's great. He's from Seattle. Or he's around Seattle.
The guy that is Savage Dragon?
Eric Larson, yeah.
Oh.
He does a lot, I don't know if he's from here or he lives here, but he does a lot, Savage Dragon takes place in Chicago, but he has a lot of shit in Seattle too.
Oh, that's cool. Ben Templesmith lives around here.
Oh really?
Around this area.
Oh, how awesome.
He was great. He came on our show. He was like, yeah, I'll give you guys 20 minutes. He was on for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We had a great time with him.
Oh, that's
It was pretty
phenomenal.
awesome.
Yeah, we talked everything from American politics, Australian politics, to
British politics.
Brexit. We talked about Brexit. So on a lighter note, I want to ask you a question.
On a lighter note, I like this conversation though. This is great.
Yeah, no, it's a great, because I have this in my head for a while. You guys had the licensing for Doctor Who, so you do T-shirts, comic books, and all that kind of stuff, and vinyl and all that.
Yeah.
Who's the bigger consumer of Doctor Who, UK or America?
For when it comes to Doctor Who merchandise,
Yeah.
100% it's America.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought it would be the other way around.
That's actually not surprising because
It's not surprising, but I thought it'd be the other way around. I mean, based on scale and how many people are in each.
It's mainly about scale, but it's also about the following. I mean, a lot of like hardcore Doctor Who fans, the really hardcore Doctor Who fans in the UK, because in the UK Doctor Who sits in a different place. It's a national institution.
It is.
So it's something that everybody watches. It's like a London bus or a British telephone box. It's part of the wallpaper. Everybody on Christmas Day, whether they can figure out what's going on or not. Everybody
I can't
watches
wait
it.
for the Christmas Day special every day.
It has
every
these
year.
massive ratings.
Yeah.
And your granny watches it, your auntie watches it, your nephew watches it. You all sit around and watch it after dinner. So it's in a different place. Whereas here in the States, the primary fans of Doctor Who tend to be college-age Americans, male and female, and of course, and it's a massive. I mean, there's a massive amount of female American fans.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the fan base, like it is with Star Trek, for example. Yeah,
I have a friend of mine who was on the East Coast, and she runs. She started a convention a couple years ago called Regeneration Who.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
She started it, and now it's gone from being this little con at a hotel to now it's a big 3-day con where they fly. She brings in the various doctors from the past to come do signings and panels and shit, and it's become this big thing that now she's being tapped for other cons around the country. And then there's AngelCon here in Seattle every year. It's a big 3-day Doctor Who convention. There's several of them around the country now that just celebrate Doctor Who every year. It's really cool.
We did an episode where we said, what is something that you love that you're somebody else might not like, but you want to make them read that one issue or watch that one television show, that one episode, to try to get them back into it.
Yeah.
So he made me read All-Star Superman, right? Which was 12 fucking issues.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But it's good.
It is good.
So good.
I made him watch the Peter Capaldi where he goes and he's making the machine and the kid swallows the pill that gives him superpowers.
Yeah.
And he becomes a superhero because I thought he would, and he did. He absolutely loved it. He's like, okay, that won't right up my alley.
That's such a good episode.
Yeah. I love it.
At that point, I hadn't watched anything with Peter Capaldi yet.
Yeah.
It was so good. I watched it with my kids. My kids just, again, sat down. We're just staring the whole time, and then let's watch more, and then watch 4 episodes after that.
That's so awesome. That's really good. I mean, we're really lucky. We've worked with these great writers in the UK, comic book writers, guys like James Peaty and Cavan Scott, and they just.
Cavan Scott's great. Yeah.
Oh, he's great. Yeah,
Follow on Twitter. I talk to him on Twitter sometimes. He's a funny guy.
Oh no, he is a very amusing guy, and they just produce some great work. And they're really big Doctor Who fans from way back, and they're really good at what they do. George Mann as well. George Mann does some great stuff for us too. George Mann and Cavan Scott are really good mates actually. Often over here, signing and doing whatnot at the same time. I would say that. So we were talking about earlier I was talking about the guys who own Titan and the quality-based ethos. Yeah. Quality-based ethos. I mean, some of the things we've got coming out in the next couple of months, which are, I think, are really awesome. We've just one of our greatest recent projects, and we've got many great projects. One of our greatest recent projects is our illustrated graphic novel version of Yellow Submarine.
We got the from the retailer event.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so we've got. So you had the.
I love the Beatles.
Yeah, and so that's written and illustrated by Bill Morrison. The guy who used to work on The Simpsons. He's now the editor of Mad Magazine.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's the editor of Mad Magazine, and that's just a phenomenal book. And the book itself, we had some advanced copies at San Diego. It's great. We're doing a version that's coming out in October, which is like a special edition, and that has a special edition version of the hardback of the book, but it also has some great original press kit material from the movie release.
Oh, that's cool.
And it also has a unique 4.5-inch Titan vinyl of the Yellow Submarine. And it's the Yellow Submarine in the sequence where it's got a big smiley face on it. And that comes out in October, and that is just a great piece of work.
That is cool.
It's really, I'm super proud of that.
Well, the quality of the books you guys release for like the art books and shit is fantastic.
Oh, well, our most recent art book, the one that's coming out now. Yeah, I mean, the one we did for Alien Illustrated a year or two ago.
That was amazing.
I was lucky enough to do a panel with Walt when we launched that back in New York Comic Con. It's fantastic. He's such a great guy. But that book's amazing. But the next one that we've got coming is for The Prisoner. So there was there's 2 issues of The Prisoner that were 3 issues of The Prisoner that were like illustrated by Jack Kirby. The first issue was written and illustrated by Jack Kirby.
Nice.
And the second issue on was illustrated by Gil Kane. And we have this artist edition that's coming out next month. And because we're doing an ongoing Prisoner comic book at the moment, written by Peter Milligan, which is phenomenal. I'd totally recommend picking it up.
Yeah.
But this artist edition, man, it's one of my favorite ever projects that we've done. Just to have a Kirby artist edition that we've published. And the editor on the Prisoner books is a guy called David Manley Leach. And he's a super creative guy. He's like a fellow traveler. He's like ourselves,
Yeah.
He has a huge library. He's about the same age as me. He's got a huge library of stuff at his home. There's nothing he doesn't know. There's no end to his creativity.
Nice.
And he's a cartoonist himself. He's a great guy. One of the great things about Titan Comics is just got this superb staff working there, like I've told you about Ricky and Will and Chris before. But the editorial team, just amazing. Like David Leach, there's nothing he doesn't know about comics. Andrew James, who's the editor of the Doctor Who comic book line. He's just awesome. There's nothing he doesn't know about Doctor Who. No. He's one of the hardest working comics people I've ever seen in my life. He's 24/7 all the time. But he really loves Who. He's really, really invested in it.
I love Doctor Who. When I'm
sick, you can see that love coming through the pages.
Yeah.
When I'm sick, it's Doctor Who days.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in bed and I can't, you know what I mean? When I'm like actually sick.
Yeah.
Then I just sit and all I do is I usually start with the David Tennant Doctor Who and just work my way through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it.
I get and I'm totally with you. I mean, one of my great personal loves outside of comic books is film noir and detective fiction, private detective fiction.
Yes.
And I'm a huge fan of that stuff, and something I'm incredibly proud
You should
of.
read the Sandman Slim
Oh, well,
series
yeah.
by Richard Kadri.
I'm 100% going to do that.
Yeah, you should read it.
So good.
Yeah,
man.
it's so good.
It took him almost 2 years to get me to read Sandman Slim, but the second I did,
I didn't like the name, Sandman Slim.
I was cheesy, but as soon as I read it, I was like, now I'm on book like 4 or 5 now.
Yeah,
it's one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah, and then we had Kadri on, and he was an amazing guy.
I'm totally going to do that. I'm totally going to do that specifically because
you guys should tag him to say, well, let us do your comic book.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of. I mean, that is the kind of thing that we do.
Yeah.
And to that fact, actually, one of the panels that I enjoyed the most I did at San Diego was a panel with Max Allan Collins, and Max Allan Collins is the brilliant, extremely prolific author.
Yes,
he used to write Batman. He did a great PI series called Mystery, which we're going to be bringing back.
Yeah, Mystery, yeah,
Bring it back.
We're bringing back all archive editions. It's Max Allan Collins and Terry Beattie. We'll be bringing them back from next year.
Nice.
And he created Wild Dog, who's in
he's on Arrow right now.
Who's in Arrow now.
Yeah.
And he used to write Dick Tracy comic strip when Chester Gould retired. And really lovely guy, really super awesome bloke. But for me, one of the great things he does is he was big friends with Mickey Spillane.
Right.
And when Spillane passed away,
Mike Hammer,
he made Max the kind of literary executor of his estate. And so what Max has been doing with us is that he's been taking incomplete Mike Hammer manuscripts and turning them into full-blown novels. And over the course of the past 10 years, he's doubled the number of Mike Hammer books that exist.
Are you a Mike Hammer TV show fan with Stacey Keach?
Massive.
Yeah, me too. I used to watch him all the time. I loved him.
What I loved about that show
I watched them as they came out.
Oh, yeah.
Huge fan.
Oh, me too. What I loved about that is you've got a guy in the 80s who's pretending like the 1940s never ended.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love Mike Hammer.
Is that how the Mike Hammer that you guys produce now?
Now, what we do is it's essentially, the way Max is working it is that he's dropping, we print a chronology, and he's dropping the manuscripts into, because in the books, Hammer slowly but surely gets older. And the interesting thing is,
Constantine on Hellblazer.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
which is something Garth likes to do, like he did with the Punisher as well.
Yeah.
The Max Punisher is pretty old, you know.
Yeah.
So on Mike Hammer, he starts out in the post-war years, and he's like essentially got post-traumatic stress disorder, and he's psychotic, you know, and he's like homicidal, and he's full of rage, and he's beating the shit out of people and shooting people in the face, and like rubbing the flesh off their fingers so the fingerprints have gone. There's all this kind of stuff. There's a great book called One Lonely Night. And I'm not saying I agree with this political standpoint, but one of the things Spillane was like he was hugely right-wing anti-communist guy. Max is not that, by the way. Max is Democrat. And famously, there's this Spillane novel written at that psychotic peak called One Lonely Night, which is about a communist cell trying to take over America. And basically Mike Hammer takes them on, and in the end triumphs over them by slaughtering them all. he basically drops into their cell with a couple of machine guns and just machine guns them all to death.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like and apparently when his publisher this is what Max was telling me the other day, got that manuscript, he was like, Mickey, I think machine gunning 300 communists to death in the final 2 chapters is a bit too much. And Spillane is like, yeah, you may have a point. So I've rewritten it, and he's like, oh, thanks so much. So he just machine guns 100 of them now.
It's okay. It's only 100 now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, at what point does it not matter?
Right.
100,
Yeah,
200,
exactly.
300?
So what Max does, he slots the books into, depending on when he thinks he can tell when the manuscript was written.
Yeah.
He slots them into the chronology, and then he writes Hammer accordingly. But
That's awesome.
It's phenomenal work, and I would totally urge you, if you're a fan of detective fiction, to pick those books up. They're written in this very propulsive style, just like Spillane.
Awesome.
Because when you read Spillane, it's almost like a fever dream,
Yeah.
Because Hammer's constantly angry and it's written in the first person, so he's almost like ranting to himself. He's not like reading Chandler or Hammett, where Marlowe and Sam Spade, or in Robert B. Parker, where Spence, they're all well-balanced individuals.
Right.
Mike Hammer's fucking nuts, you know what I mean? He's looking for someone to smash in the face.
That's hilarious.
And we've just we're about to be 3 issues in to Mike Hammer comic book as well.
Nice.
And so it's called
I'm excited for that.
It's called The Night I Died, and that is fucking awesome.
Oh, I gotta get it.
And what
Okay,
it's
so
what
you're
it's
3
based-
issues in right now?
Yeah, the 3rd issue is about to come out. It's called The Night I Died. It's phenomenal. And what Max did was he took a radio script that Spillane had written for an unproduced Hammer radio show, which became the script for an unproduced Hammer TV pilot in the 50s. And he's taken that, because Max's thing is he doesn't want to invent Hammer out of whole cloth. He only wants to use Mickey's DNA.
Right.
If it exists, he wants to take it.
Yeah.
And so that's what he's used, and he's adapted that as a comic book, and it's great. By the way, I'm going to plug another thing that we don't publish.
Yeah,
but
please plug away.
So I would totally recommend buying any of our Mike Hammer stuff. I'm not saying that because I'm being, it's not the old company talking. It is my company, but as a fan, it's amazing, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. The other thing would be, I'm a huge fan of Lawrence Block. Yeah, Lawrence Block is one of the greatest living PI authors in America. And he's getting up there in the paint cards now. He's in his mid-80s, and he has a character that he's written a series of about 17 books about called Matt Scudder, and they've made 2 movies of Matt Scudder films. One with a great actor that was wholly not authentic, and it's called 8 Million Ways to Die, and it stars Jeff Bridges. And then they made a film about 2-3 years ago. It's a much better adaptation, much more successful adaptation in terms of the character in the books. It's called The Walk Among the Tombstones, and it stars Liam Neeson. I'd recommend seeing that film. It's pretty heavy on the violence and whatnot, but
That's all right.
It's good, it's good. But Lawrence Block and John K. Snyder III have just collaborated on a graphic novel of 8 Million Ways to Die, set in the 80s, set in New York City. That was published by IDW.
Nice.
My feeling is that's going to win an Eisner next year. It's an amazing piece of work.
Oh.
It's a great book. It's called 8 Million Ways to Die.
I just told my local comic book guy that I want the Mike Hammer comics from Titan Comics. And
8 Million Ways to Die. It's a hardcover graphic novel by IDW, by John K. Snyder III and Lawrence Block.
There.
And it's a phenomenal piece of work.
ordered in. They're coming.
Yeah. It's a great piece of work, So I like to feel that between ourselves and IDW, we're bringing the PI format back to comics.
That's awesome.
I love it because the PI stuff is great.
Oh,
I
great.
love Gumshoe.
Yeah.
My favorite cut of Blade Runner is where Harrison Ford is doing the Gumshoe overlay.
Me too.
That's the best one
Which
to,
is
to watch.
a lot of Blade Runner fans hate that version.
Oh, I love
But that's
that
the first version I saw, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it with a voiceover.
I love it.
I tell you, it's one of the best things about.
Because it reminds me of Humphrey Bogart in Planes in Spain and the Maltese Falcon and all that.
Oh, Maltese Falcon, man.
I've been inspired
agree.
by that stuff.
That is one of the things that I love the most about Sin City. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
that's exactly right.
It's the voice, and it's the two voiceovers. The one.
It's the whole Gumshoe aspect.
The one by Dwight, and the one by the Bruce Willis character Hartigan.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal, and that was released back in the day when I was still writing about movies for a living. And I interviewed Robert Rodriguez about that film.
Oh, nice.
It's great. I was really lucky back in the day. I got to interview some great people. We were talking before this about, when I met Kevin Smith, and I got to interview Christopher Nolan. I got to interview John Woo. Got to interview
John Woo
Rodriguez.
would have been amazing.
John Woo was fantastic.
About hard-boiled and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was speaking to Rodriguez about how good the voiceovers in Sin City, the way they sound. He said, the thing is you've got to spend ages getting them right, because apparently on Apocalypse Now, John Milius and Francis Ford Coppola spent like a year getting that voiceover by Martin Sheen right, recording it and re-recording it, so just the timbre of it was right.
Man.
And because that really anchors the film at the beginning. We see him in Saigon and he's in the hotel room drinking and he punches the mirror. It's all about the voiceover.
Right.
But in Sin City, they have those great voiceovers, right? And Rodriguez told me the way he did it was like he got both of the actors, Clive Owen and Bruce Willis, into the garage of his home with an old Neumann microphone, those great old chunky silver microphones.
Yeah.
And hooked it up to
I would love an old Neumann.
Yeah, me too.
Can't afford it, man.
Can't afford it. Yeah. And they recorded it into that. That's how they did it, and that's why those voiceovers sound so great. Right, that's just made me think
Like
of
an
something.
old ribbon microphone. It must have been just sound rich.
Oh yeah. I thought of something then actually when I was talking about people I interviewed back in the day. Do you want to hear about the worst interview that I ever did?
Please. Yes,
Would this be like this is way off topic. So we're going to get back to our awesome Titan Comics release.
There you go.
So basically, they'd released a movie in the early 90s. It was called Mulholland Falls.
Oh, yep, with Nicholas Nolte.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I tell you guys this?
Nope.
No.
You haven't told me this already?
I haven't heard it yet.
Called Mulholland Falls, yeah. Okay, so it's a great film. No, actually, it's the idea of a great film.
I was working in a video store when it came out.
Yeah, right. So it looks great, and it's essentially about the Hat Squad, who are a real group of policemen working in Los Angeles in the late 40s, early 50s.
Fighting organized crime.
Whose job it was to, off the books, sort out organised crime. And the way they fought organised crime was by capturing mobsters and beating the shit out of them and saying, you've got two choices. You can either go home, back to Chicago and New York, or you're taking a trip over Mulholland Falls. And I'd be, well, what do you mean? And they'd take them to the top of Mulholland Drive and just throw them off the mountain.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's your choice, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we see you back, you're jumping over Mulholland Falls. And they were just illicitly, and it was like a more kind of the movie itself.
Based on true story.
It's based on the true story.
Yeah. Nice.
But it was a more like kind of more cartoony, less effective version of, say, an LA Confidential.
Yeah.
Came out a few years before LA Confidential, which is a distillation of that in part, in a much better way. I mean, LA Confidential is a work of art. Mulholland Falls is a kind of pulp film.
The direction of it is very unique.
Yeah. Right on.
The way it looks, the shooting, everything is very unique.
It's got great actors in it. It stars Nick Nolte. It's also got Michael Madsen. It's got Chris Penn, and he's the point of the story.
Yeah.
It's got
who's the girl in it?
It's Jennifer. It's the girl who's married to
Jason
Division.
Leigh?
No, it's Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah,
Very
Jennifer
beautiful.
Connelly. I love
Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, Connelly. Married to Paul Bettany, the Vision.
Yeah, she was
Really?
Beautiful Mind. She did
right on.
Labyrinth.
This is where they
she
met.
did,
Yeah.
The first Hulk movie, she was
Yeah,
Betty
she's
Ross.
in the Hulk movie, the first Hulk.
Ross.
It's John Malkovich is in it as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm doing an interview for for the magazine, for the weekly paper I used to write for. It's called the NME, the New Musical Express, and it was the Rolling Stone of the UK. Its print edition just closed within the last 6 weeks, but it's one of the biggest music papers in the UK, for many years. And I didn't write about films, I wrote about movies, and I interviewed Chris Penn, Sean Penn's brother.
Yep.
He's passed away now.
Yeah.
Who was like the third or fourth lead in the show, in the movie. He plays a detective called Relier.
He was great. Chris Penn was great.
He was great because he was in the best of the best.
He was in the best of the best. That's right.
Yeah. And he was in Footloose. He plays the kid who can't dance. He's befriended by Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
He's in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay. By the time I meet him, he's pretty heavyweight,
Right.
And basically what happens is I get to a very upscale hotel in London called the Soho Hotel, and I'm taken to the first floor by the very polite British PR people. And they're like, oh, hello, Andrew. It's nice to meet you.
I gotta say this before I forget. He's in True Romance.
He
which
is.
is one of my absolute favorite movies.
There's something wrong in the state of Denmark. Right on. Oh, no, he is amazing in that.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing in that because he's with Tom Sizemore.
Yep.
Tom Sizemore is a great actor.
Sizemore,
Who managed to balls up his career spectacularly.
Right.
Tom Sizemore is amazing. I mean, as an actor, he's amazing. As a human being, he might not be the most amazing
He kind of blew up his career. Career in the wrong direction.
Yeah, right. But he plays Sergeant Horvath in Saving Private Ryan, just to loop all this around back to World War II, right? Yeah. So anyway, I get her shit up. Yeah, and Penn is having his last interview. I'm again the last. For some reason, I end up getting put in the last interview of the day slot. Interview of the day, and he's having a TV interview in an ante room at the Soho Hotel with an MTV, an Irish MTV VJ.
Okay.
Who's a guy who used to present all the tin stuff at the time, all the film stuff at the time. And I remember watching this guy, Tom Teggerman, on MTV back in the day, and thinking, this lad is fucking useless.
Yeah.
He's cool and all, but he doesn't know anything about films at all. He's one of those guys. So I had a tendency to ask annoyingly stupid questions that people would have heard many times on a press junket during the day. So what happens is, the director's trying to film in this room, but it's the middle of summer and the air conditioning is on in the hotel. And it's very, very loud. The AC is very loud. Because it's an Edwardian building that's had, AC retrofitted, so it's a bit loud. And the director comes out and very politely of the show comes out and goes, excuse me, we can't hear ourselves on the mics over the air conditioning. Could you get someone to turn it off? And the PR lady goes, yes, okay. Nothing happens. Then the presenter comes out with his Irish accent, charming Irish accent, which I'm not going to do. Even though my grandfather's an Irishman, it eludes me doing that accent convincingly. Nothing worse than doing a bad Irish accent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he comes out and he tries to lay on the charm. Could you just turn this down for a second because blah, blah, blah. Yes, I will do. She goes, speaks to me, nothing happens. Then Penn comes out and his face is bright red. Yeah. And he's like, God damn it! Who do I have to punch in the face to get this air conditioning turned down? And she said, it's okay, Chris, I'm sorting it out. And he goes, to be honest, honey, I can see that you aren't sorting this out. I'm just going to go and speak to someone, see if I can help them. And he goes downstairs to the lobby reception and he hears a bunch of shouting. He comes back up the stairs and he kind of winks at the PR lady. And then a kind of like little English engineer guy with a doleful look on his face comes up to him with the shoulder bag on and goes into some anteroom. And all you hear is like, "Arr!" And all the air conditioning in the hotel stopped.
Oh, the power of a pen.
I just got the sense that this guy had opened up a panel, looked at it, and thrown the spanner in, thrown the wrench in. You know what I mean? That's it. No air conditioning. It's silent now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Solve the problem though, right?
Right.
I mean,
so like Penn finishes the interview, and the PR lady goes, oh, Chris, this is your last interview of the day. This is Andrew, and she wasn't going to say, this is Andrew Sumner who works for blah, blah. She goes, this is Andrew's, and he holds his big beefy hand up and pushes it in my face, yeah? While not looking at me, he kind of side palms me off and looking at her goes, I am not going to speak to anybody else until I've had something to eat. I'm fucking starving. I can speak to this guy. Again, he doesn't turn around and acknowledge me. once I've eaten something. Oh, okay, of course. What do you want, Chris? He goes, I would like halibut poached with a bottle of Chardonnay. And she goes, oh, would you like 2 glasses, one for you and one for Andrew? He goes, no, it's just for me. Right, and he's not even looking at me.
Yeah.
So like I go and sit in a corner.
They're doing those interviews all day long. They
Oh,
probably
yeah.
have to be a dick
Oh man, this stuff
to be able to get anything that they need done.
this stuff happens all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and it's like my mantra when I used to write about movies like this. Celebrities will always disappoint you. You know,
Yeah.
don't try and interview your heroes if you want to carry on liking them. And I do have stories about people who are awesome. Patrick Stewart, amazing. Danny Aiello, the Italian-American actor who's in Do the Right Thing,
I love
amazing.
Danny Aiello.
You know, great. You know,
Do the Right Thing. Have
Yeah.
you ever seen that? Do
oh,
the Right
it's
Thing?
amazing. It's a great
Oh,
film.
he's so good in
Oh,
that.
he is. Oh, and I had a great interview with
I
him.
think he makes that movie.
I had a great interview with him once, so anyway, Penn, ultimately I sit there and he just completely ignores me. He sat on his phone, which is fine. It's not a problem. They bring up a pound of halibut with some salad and a bottle of Chardonnay, and he starts just to wolf it down. And the first time he speaks to me, he's halfway through the halibut and he turns and he shouts over to me because I'm on the other side of the room. I'm not trying to crowd him out. He's like, I tell you what, this ain't no goddamn halibut I've ever eaten. I don't know what the fuck this is. We're still eating it. And he drinks the bottle of Chardonnay in 3 large glasses, one after another, like it's water.
You look at it and go,
Yeah.
because that's a fucking cod
Yeah.
from the fish and chips
I
down the
know.
street.
And I'm sat next to the dude. He doesn't turn and go, okay, let's go. He shouts the PR lady over from the other side of the floor, hey, tell this guy I'm good to speak to him now. And she goes, okay. She goes, no, I want an introduction. So he beckons me and goes, and he stands up and he goes, oh yeah, Chris, this is Andrew Sumner from the NME. It's like the Rolling Stone of the UK. And I'm all smiley and I go like, hello, Chris, and I put my hand out, shake his hand. And he looks at me with this kind of fearsome look of up and down appraisal. And he then grabs hold of my hand, right? Now, as you gents may notice, I'm fairly heavy-handed, yeah? So I go to shake his hand. And when I start shaking his hand back and he feels that I'm fairly heavy-handed, he looks me in the eye and he kind of nods with his eyebrow raising going, all right, you know, with a kind of, which I didn't understand at the time, kind of, it's on face, yeah? Yeah. So he then starts squeezing my hand.
Oh, God.
I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, this must be his thing, so I just squeeze it back. And then he looks at me like, oh, right, so you want to
really
play?
on.
So he squeezes my hand again. So I'm like, I squeeze back. And then he squeezes my hand again, and I squeeze back. And then he squeezes my hand again, and I squeeze back. And it gets to the point that me and Chris Penn are literally squeezing our hands for life. And our 2 forearms are shaking up and down like this, within about a foot, you know, like that. And our knees are buckling, and we're both purple in the face. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? You know, I don't know where to go with this. And like, we're both like sinking towards the floor, and still, you know, our fists have gone white, you know.
my God.
And I'm like, shit, I better end this. So I just let go, and I laugh, and I'm like, ha ha. And he just looks me dead in the eye, no hints of amusement, points at me and goes, I fucking thought so. What a dick.
What a dick.
I would have fucking thought so.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Oh god.
And then he's like, ask me anything you want. So we sit down.
That is one of the best stories ever.
So we sit down. And he goes, ask me anything you want. I go, okay, so Chris, what was it like? I was going to say, what's it like? I was going to say, what's it like working with Nick Nolte? What was it like working with Nick? And he puts his hand in my face again. And he goes, I've got one question for you. Who is the greatest living actor in America?
Oh my god.
And I'm like,
That's a fucking loaded question.
I'm like, I knew it was a loaded question when he asked it, and I was like, and I was like, and I said, well, on balance over the last 30 years, I'd say for me personally, not for you personally, who is the greatest living actor in America? So I go, Robert De Niro, and he goes, wrong, try again, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, you could make a case for Al Pacino. And I get into Al Pacino, and he goes, and he puts his hand in his face, he goes, wrong, try again. I said, why didn't it tell me who you think it is? And he's like, the greatest living actor in America is Sean Penn. Yeah. So my response is I go, oh, your brother? And he goes, no, not my brother, the greatest living actor in America. And that was the best part of the interview.
Oh, God.
Oh,
From
my
then on,
God.
it just went down. And he just gave me one-word answers for like an hour. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
So, it was the exact opposite of this experience.
Right.
It was just like, so did you do it? Yep. Did you enjoy working with Michael Madsen? Yeah. You've known him for a long time, haven't you, though? Yeah. How did you meet him? Can't remember. You know, it was just like that. He couldn't have been less interested. The only thing he was interested in doing was like, crushing my hand out.
Crushing your hand.
And every now and again I've asked him non-movie related questions. Like he was really actually genuinely into mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Which is why he was in Best of the Best and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he was a pretty tubby guy, he was well into, he actually fought semi-professionally and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he certainly lived very large, and I think, his untimely death was the result of, how he chose to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my perplexing afternoon with Christopher Penn.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, so that's
Andrew, I think it's come to a.
Is it that time?
It is, I think it is that time.
Are we wrapping up on that
been
time?
an amazing
And do you know what? I never got to tell you to put down any of the San Diego anecdotes for posterity. They're all still there in the ether.
Yeah, we did the
we did the
Captain America and
Sherlock
Sherlock
right
Holmes.
on, yeah. Oh, no, it's all right, lads. I'm not lobbying for more time. I'm
No,
just saying that,
Well, we want to have you on again.
Oh, hell yeah.
Possible.
Man, whenever I'm in town, I'm super happy to do it.
Yeah, we can even do it
Absolutely.
over the internet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm happy to do it any way you want to do it. The truth is we've got loads of great stuff coming out. We've got all the great stuff with the 13th Doctor coming up. We've got
excited for that.
All the great prisoner projects we've been talking about, the art edition, the great Yellow Submarine stuff, the stuff we're doing with Rivers of London.
It's amazing.
And then there's the great stuff with Bloodborne and Assassin's Creed and all that. And there's so many great new books coming up the wazoo and everything. And on the vinyl collectibles front, we're just about to announce a second wave of Game of Thrones Titans collectibles.
Nice.
Did wave one, which is awesome, but wave two
Game of Thrones
is great. And you may have seen we had that dragon we were at the show with. We were at the Serum White Edition Titan. Lots more of that other stuff coming on. But I'll speak to you boys whenever you want. I mean, I've really enjoyed today, guys. It's been great.
We love having you on.
So
Are you kidding?
great.
And listen, anytime you have something coming out and you want us to help promote it, you just tell us.
Right on.
And it's on.
Yeah,
It's on.
sure.
Not
Sure.
even-
Shoot us an email, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even a second thought.
You're two kind guys. I'll hook you guys up with Will. I know you've already spoken with him. He's a really cool bloke. And yeah, there's lots of stuff we can talk about.
Awesome.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come and see me on the Saturday, no less.
No, this is
Yeah.
awesome. Are you kidding? Can't wait to
Drinks
do it
and hanging
again.
out, hell yeah, it's awesome.
There
Yeah,
was
can't
the
wait to do it again.
downside.
Right,
Yeah.
No downside.
Well, thanks so much.
Andrew,
thanks
love
so
you,
much,
man.
Kendrick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love you
Big
too,
fan. Really
guys.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man.
Awesome.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I was actually talking with Andrew today about
Yeah.
the first episode, and he's excited to do a third one with us. So I mean, next month sometime we'll be hitting up with him again. It'll probably be remote because he does not live anywhere near us.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That is
I don't
going to
know-
be awesome. We're
I
going
don't
to
know
be
what to talk
doing.
about. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to be doing more and more with Andrew. We're going to try to do once a month. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, that's going to be our goal. He's on board with that. I'm on board with that. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty insane. And so there you guys go. Sincerely hope you enjoyed Andrew Sumner. I hope you're looking forward to more Andrew as we go along. I feel like we've said Andrew like a million times. Andrew.
Right.
Andrew.
Right,
But
right.
there you go.
All right. So
Anything to add there, Johnny?
Nothing to add. No, that's good. That's
All
good.
right. That's a show.
So that's a show.
Well, you can listen to us anywhere podcasts are heard. You should just download an app and say, Spoiler Country, subscribe. Don't worry about it. Just do that and make my life a little bit more fun.
That's right. And if you want to talk to us, touch us on Twitter at spoiler_country or email us at spoilercountry@gmail.com. Facebook, Instagram, any of those socials out there you can hit us up on. You can leave us a voicemail at 707-656-2080. Again, 707-656-2080. If you want to catch out our website, which has a bunch of cool articles and blogs, movie reviews, no video game reviews. I don't know why I said that. But comic reviews and book reviews by myself and by Kendrick and by other people, just head over to scpod.net. And until
right.
next time,
Open your mind and
read more.
yeah, baby. I don't know why I said that.